Welcome to this edition of the Tennessee Concrete Conversations podcast. My name is Alan Sparkman. I'm the director for the Tennessee Concrete Association. And my guest today is our current TCA president, Sam Pittenger, with Harrison Construction, based in Knoxville, Tennessee. So Sam, welcome, and we appreciate you being with us this morning. Let's start out with just a quick introduction. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for Harrison.
All right. Well, thank you, Alan, for having me. It's an honor to be on this podcast today. And my history in the concrete industry started about 24 years ago. I've been doing this for about 24 years, and I'm the current general manager for Harrison Construction. And prior to that, I've mostly been in sales. I was sales manager prior to that for about 7 years, and I've worked for a couple of other companies in the industry prior to Harrison.
Great. And going back to the start of that 24-year career, you were one of the first students that came through our Certified Concrete Sales Professional class here in Tennessee, and that's been 20 plus years ago.
I think it was the year that we started, the year you started. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being with us again, and you've been in the industry long enough to have seen a lot of changes, and certainly long enough to consider other options. So, talk about why you stayed in the concrete industry over these last almost quarter of a century.
The reason I've stayed in it, Alan, is due to its stability. It's that and the people in the industry. As you've probably heard many times in your career, it gets in your blood, and for some reason we just don't get out of it. It's a chaotic business, but that kind of drives a lot of people to stay in it. Every day is different. You have a plan, and then that can suddenly be changed. So it's not a normal job that most people, some people like and some people don't. So not everybody can do it. So it's very interesting on a daily basis, depending on what could come ahead.
Like you, I've been in the industry a long time, longer than you, but we won't get into that today. And I would say my reasons are very similar. I love the concrete industry, and I've worked with some amazing people and continue to work with amazing people. And to me, that makes it easy to stay. I think that would probably be one of my big reasons as well. So you fast forward to 2022. I think most people I talk to today will say that this is a really unusual, perhaps the most challenging time that we've seen as an industry in my entire career. So that spans 40 plus years. So what are the biggest challenges that you're facing as the general manager of a pretty good sized ready-mix operation? What are the biggest challenges you're dealing with?
Well, the last year has definitely been workforce and also allocations and materials and inflation. The workforce by far is no surprise. It's the biggest issue we have right now, and we are constantly trying to recruit and retain as many as we can. And just a statistic, if you look back at 2021, we hired 28 ready-mix drivers and lost over half of them in about a year. And then in last year, we hired 18 and lost over half of those. So retaining employees is a huge concern that we've got. And then we've also lost over 5 in the last 2 years. So that is a struggle we're going to continue to have and continue to face, considering that our average age of our driver is 58 years old.
Well, I think you touched on a couple of things there that every ready-mix producer, and not just ready-mix producers, contractors, I think anybody that touches the construction world would say the same thing, and their experience would be similar probably to what you've just talked about. But you mentioned that you'd lost 5 people to retirement, and that your average age today of your drivers is 58 years old, which means that you're going to continue to lose a lot of people to retirement.
Correct.
So that's going to make this whole problem of attracting and retaining, particularly drivers, mixer operators, more and more difficult. And I do think that's probably the preeminent challenge faced by our industry across the country, not just in Tennessee.
Yeah, what we need to start doing too is finding out where these people are going. Are we producing concrete to these projects that are actually stealing our drivers? And I believe that's part of the case, but not all of it.
What are you doing to, if you don't mind sharing some of your general strategies, what are you doing to try to both recruit and then, I think even more importantly, retain drivers?
Well, we're trying to offer a work-life balance that is becoming more and more difficult to maintain with the lack of drivers that we have. Our work week goes an extra day. We continue to work on Saturdays, more Saturdays than we've ever had to work, and that's a struggle. So we try to balance that with people's schedules, and it's been very difficult. But recruitment, we're offering various incentives. We are touting our benefits more than ever. We're a very, very large company, so we do offer quite very, very good benefits, but that does not seem to be attracting the younger group at this time.
Well, again, what you're saying is what I hear from almost everybody I talk to. So clearly as an industry, we've got more work to do.
Yes.
In terms of figuring out the balance, the things that make our industry attractive. We've got some great, pardon the pun, we've got a solid foundation, obviously a concrete foundation to build on with the people and the type of job, the challenges, the rewards, but we've got to do better. That's no longer enough.
Correct.
All right, well, let's talk about something else that is also, I think, an increasing challenge and I think opportunity for a lot of people. We, under the broad umbrella of sustainable construction, what are you seeing here? You're based in Knoxville and East Tennessee with your concrete operation for Harrison, but what are you seeing in terms of sustainable construction and how is it impacting you today?
Well, we have not seen it very prevalent as of recently. The specifications haven't shown it, and we have not had to abide by anything at this point of relevance. The biggest thing we've seen is the Type 1L cement that's coming, and it will be actually we'll implement that this week. That would be the biggest impact that we've had so far.
So going into the fall of 22, your operation is going to be entirely using Type 1L, which is a Type 1 Portland limestone. Some people call it a PLC cement, but it's a Type 1 cement that includes roughly 10% finely ground limestone, which has a nice positive impact on lowering the embodied carbon in cement and thus in your concrete. So it's a good thing from a sustainable construction. It's very positive. But you guys are going to be essentially 100% Type 1L by the end of 22?
Yes. Yeah, well, most definitely. And some of our sister companies within CRH are already using it, have been using it for years. So we've got a lot of backup data that they've shared with us, and it's a good equal cement and more environmentally friendly.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big advantages of Portland limestone cement is that it's not new. It's been in use around the world and in the United States for many years. So we have an established track record, and we're not asking people to take a leap of faith. And we're roughly speaking, we're helping people achieve about a 10%, 6 to 10% reduction, immediate reduction in the embodied carbon in their concrete, which is a big deal today, and I think will be a bigger deal going forward. Well, let's switch gears just a little bit and talk about, you're the current president for the Tennessee Concrete Association. You've been involved on the board for, I think, at least the last 5 years.
I believe so, yes.
So you have a pretty good sense of, where TCA is, what we're trying to do. So tell me a little bit about how the Tennessee Concrete Association helps you and your company, Harrison Construction.
Well, Alan, I've been in, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, I've been in this for 24 years, and I've been a member of TCA every year. With it, depending on which company I was with, we've always been a member. And you brought up the Certified Sales Professional class. That was one of the class that TCA offered within their continuing education service, and that was taught by you and Woody Crawley, I think in 1998 is what I remember. And that was the first class that TCA offered to me and helped me as a young upcoming salesperson understand the business and understand how to approach this, controlled chaos is what I call it, on a daily basis. And not only that, but it was also a networking opportunity for me. I met several other suppliers across the state during this course, and I believe it was a 4-module course. I was up there quite a bit. So we got to know each other very well. And one of the advantages to TCA too that I'm tying into this is just the networking aspect of it. Whether you're at a convention or even through these classes, you're learning and you're meeting people of the industry that have like interest. And as it turned out, 20 years later after the class, I ended up utilizing a relationship that I had generated during this class to sell them concrete in a different market and sand. So the TCA has helped in that aspect tremendously with meeting people of several different over the areas of the state. So I like that about it. Technical support is a huge part for us. Alan and both John, you all have been very, very helpful to us when we need third-party advice, especially with a contractor that may or may not understand the concrete, what has happened, and that as a supplier, you protect us and our efforts to try to get the product out there. We've done it correctly, and you've been very, very helpful in that aspect. And then promotion, you all have done a great job with promotion, but at this point, concrete's promoting itself, which is not, it's on a back burner, in my opinion, compared to what we need to focus on, which is workforce and continued working together. I have come across several days where we can't supply concrete to all of our customers. So what am I going to do? I'm going to recommend a TCA member within in my service area to help us out. So it's more imperative than ever that we work together to try to get our material to our customers in a timely manner. And we're turning down so much work right now because we don't have enough people to deliver it. So that's a very, very important aspect I see is working with our fellow members to help us all out.
Well, and I think, associations need to respond to the current challenges of their membership. And that seems obvious, but it's not always that easy for associations to kind of switch gears. But I think with your leadership and the board's leadership, we've done a pretty good job of pivoting. You mentioned promotion and production. Tennessee set records for concrete production the last 2 years, 2020 and 2021. So I would have to say that indicates we've done a decent job over the years in promoting, because
Yes.
we're setting record production levels. And we may set another record this year in spite of all the challenges. We'll see how that goes. But we've known and we've seen this at the board level for several years that workforce is the big challenge. So TCA's we have just launched this past week a workforce initiative on social media to try to bring applicants to our members like Harrison. You guys helped with that, and that campaign's up and active. We'll see how it goes. See what we're going to monitor the results, and if it's successful, we'll do more of it. If it's not successful, we'll figure something else out. But you did mention the concrete sales professional class, and my predecessor, Woody Crawley, who was in this position before me, and Woody's now passed, but he was well known to everybody, certainly in East Tennessee, and was one of our early instructors. So it's always good to think back to the folks who've built the foundation that we're benefiting from today. So what else does TCA help you with that you think is pretty important?
Well, I think I've gone over the education. Again, I'm going to go back to John. John was an incredibly a very, very good hire. He has come on board and he is teaching a lot of the classes now and certifying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have more people passing the ACI level class now due to his pre-level class or the pre-class. And
John Pearson, who we hired as our tech services director about not quite 3 years ago, he has done a marvelous job expanding our certification offerings. And one of the things that we just couldn't really do without his help was the preparation. And we've watched over the years people coming through our certification classes. The fail rate, especially for field testing, was getting higher and higher because people were coming less and less prepared. And so with John Pearson on board, he's been able to put together a review class. I think we put over 100 people through that class last year, and it does seem to be translating to a better pass rate for the certification, which is saving people money versus having to go back and retest once or twice. So that's been I would agree, one of the huge upgrade for us in terms of capability and service, and also brings a wealth of experience about concrete from the engineering and testing side that's now available to our members, which you had previously mentioned.
Yeah, and with that being said, we send all of our salespeople, they've got to be ACI certified, and they have all attested to the fact that the class that he's given is much clearer, easily understand. They understand it a lot better. So yeah, that is a huge benefit. One other thing that we were using too is the TCA's online academy. We just initiated a program to help our drivers if we've got one that's injured right now, and he is actually going through the certification program for the driver certification and the concrete and practice course, which enables them to continue working, and we reinvest in their education. So that, Alan and I have been talking about it, and we just put that into effect about a month ago, and it's been very beneficial, and the delivery professional, as we like to call them, has learned quite a bit as well. So that's another tool that the TCA has given us that we're very, very appreciative for.
Well, great. Sam, we appreciate your time this morning and your insight. And I personally appreciate your leadership with TCA over the past several years, and certainly as president this year. So stay tuned for our next episode of Tennessee Concrete Conversations, and we look forward to speaking with you then. Thanks.